Welcome. This lesson is from physiology paper. The topic is endocrine system. This is part 4 of endocrine system. In earlier classes on endocrine system, we have discussed about various endocrine glands. With the help of this lesson, the learners will be able to understand the mechanism of hormone action in detail. Animal cells exchange different types of information. The information may be about exchange of ions and glucose in extracellular fluids, or it may be about different interdependent metabolic activities that take place in different tissues, or correct placement of cells during embryonic development. So this type of information is passed in the form of signals. The signals arise from different sources including endocrine glands. In all these cases, signal represents information. So this information is detected by specific receptors. So this information is converted into a cellular response. This response usually it is a chemical process. So the conversion of external information into a metabolic or physiologic change is called signal transduction. The process of conversion where the external information is nothing but the signal into a metabolic or physiologic change in cells is called signal transduction. Cells respond to different signals. Some of the signals to which cells respond include antigens, cell surface glycoproteins or oligosaccharides, developmental signals, growth factors, hormones, light, mechanical touch, neurotransmitters, nutrients, odorants, pheromones, tastens, and extracellular matrix components. Hormones are chemical messengers. They act as signal molecules and carry specific messages to the target cells and direct them to perform specific tasks. Hormones carry specific messages to the cells by binding to specific receptors. A receptor is a protein molecule which are present either embedded in the cell membrane or they may be present in the cytoplasm or nucleoplasm. Based on their presence, receptors are of two types: cell surface receptors and intracellular receptors. Cell surface receptors are found embedded on the plasma in the plasma membrane, and intracellular receptors are present in the cytoplasm or nucleoplasm. The hydrophilic and peptide hormones bind to cell surface receptors, while steroid hormones and hydrophobic hormones they bind to intracellular receptors. This image shows mechanism of signal transduction. Signal transduction includes three phases. One is reception, and the second is signal transduction pathway, signal transduction. The third is response. Whenever signal is passed, here we can see a hormone. So the signal is in the form of hormone or any environmental stimulus like light or anything. If the signal comes to near the cell, this is the cell. So this is the cell, and if this signal, it binds to some receptor which is present in the cell membrane, So this is the signal. It is binding to the receptor, and thus reactions are produced due to the binding of the hormone or some environmental stimuli to the cell surface receptor, and these reactions are called as signal transduction pathway, the reactions together, and finally they elicit a cellular response. So that is activation of cellular responses occurs. So this is the mechanism of signal transduction. This image shows cell surface receptors as well as intracellular receptors. So here the first image is cell surface receptors. Here we can see this is a signal, hydrophilic signal molecule, and this is a cell surface receptor protein. So this signal molecule comes and binds with the cell surface receptor protein, and this is a target cell. This is a target cell, and this is a plasma membrane, and this receptor is present. It is present embedded in the plasma membrane. Hence, this receptor is called as cell surface receptor. And this second image, that is B, shows intracellular receptors. So here this is a small signal molecule, and this is hydrophobic. So earlier, just now we have studied that hydrophilic signals, they bind to cell surface receptors, and hydrophobic signal molecules, they diffuse into the cell. This is a target cell, and they diffuse into the cell and bind to the intracellular receptors. This is the nucleus, and here we can see this is the intracellular receptor, and to this receptor the signal molecule binds and reaction occurs, and thereby response is produced. So these receptors which are present inside the cell or nucleoplasm. In this image we can see that, so this hydrophobic signal molecule, it binds to the receptor which is present in the nucleoplasm. So intracellular receptors are present either in the cytoplasm or in the nucleoplasm. So these are the intracellular receptors. Hydrophobic signal molecules bind to intracellular receptors, and hydrophilic signal molecules bind to cell surface receptors. A molecule which binds to a receptor is called a ligand. A ligand may be a peptide or a hormone or a neurotransmitter. Each ligand has a specific receptor. Say a hormone is a ligand, and that hormone has a specific receptor. Insulin is a hormone, and insulin hormone has a specific, it binds to specific receptors which are there for insulin, called insulin receptors, which are present on the cells of hepatocytes, adipocytes and skeletal muscle. While epinephrine binds to beta adrenergic receptor, present on the hepatocytes. In this image, we can see that a ligand will bind to a membrane receptor. So this is an extracellular fluid. In this image, we can see that a ligand binding to the receptor. So this is the extracellular fluid and this is a cell membrane, and this is a receptor present on which is embedded in the cell membrane, and this ligand binds to this membrane receptor. With the binding of this ligand to the membrane receptor, a ligand receptor complex is formed. So this is a ligand receptor complex, and this ligand receptor complex will elicit intracellular response. So it will create some response. It triggers the intracellular response. This image shows specificity of receptors. So here we can see this is a secretory cell, and this secretory cell is secreting, it is sending a chemical messenger. This is a ligand, and it has to bind to a specific receptor on the target cell. So this is the target cell. So here we can see three cells, cell A, B and C. So the cell surface receptor present on the A is different to that of the cell surface receptor which is present on the B, and the cell surface receptor on C is different. So this particular chemical messenger or ligand, it can bind to only this type of receptor. It cannot bind to this B or C. So each receptor is specific for only specific ligand. That is, each ligand has a specific receptor. Each ligand has specific receptor, and it will bind to that receptor, and then only the response will be elicited. So the shape of this B and C is different, hence this ligand cannot bind to those receptors which are present in the cell B and C. Peptide or hydrophilic hormones, they bind to cell surface receptors and stimulate the production of certain intracellular molecules called second messengers. These second messengers, they pass to the interior of the cell and activate certain proteins or enzymes which perform specific biological functions. When the blood glucose level falls below the normal level, alpha cells of islets of Langerhans of pancreas glands, they are stimulated and they release glucagon hormone. The function of the glucagon hormone is to increase the blood glucose level. So this glucagon, this is done, this increasing of the blood glucose level is done by glycogenolysis, that is a breakdown of glycogen into glucose 1-phosphate in the liver. Glucagon released by the alpha cells of pancreas is transported by the blood to the liver. The liver cells contain specific receptors called beta adrenergic receptors. So these receptors are associated with G protein on the cytoplasmic phase of the cell membrane. Hence the receptors are called as G protein coupled receptors. G proteins are heterotrimeric proteins, and they consist of three subunits. G protein consists of three subunits, namely alpha subunit, beta subunit, and gamma subunit. Whenever glucagon does not bind to the hepatocyte membrane, then alpha subunit is associated with GDP, and this GDP is in inactive form. And when glucagon binds to the cell membrane of the liver cells, alpha subunit dissociates from the G protein heterotrimer and GDP is exchanged with GTP. The alpha subunit in turn activates another enzyme called adenylate cyclase, and this adenylate cyclase is present towards the inner surface of the plasma membrane. So this adenylate cyclase enzyme, it converts ATP into cyclic AMP. Cyclic AMP is called as CAMP. CAMP is cyclic adenosine monophosphate. This is the image showing the formation of CAMP from the ATP. CAMP is formed with the help of adenylyl cyclase enzyme. ATP is triphosphate, adenosine triphosphate, and it is transformed to cyclic AMP, that is adenosine monophosphate and pyrophosphate along with pyrophosphate. So this is formed, CAMP is formed in the cytoplasm of the liver cells. A scientist named Sutherland was awarded Nobel Prize for Physiology and Medicine in 1971 for his discovery of mechanism of hormone action via cyclic AMP as a second messenger. So this cyclic AMP is usually called as second messenger, and the hormone which stimulates the formation of the glucose 1-phosphate or which stimulates the glycogenolysis is called as a first messenger. Sutherland discovered the mechanism of action of hormone, that is epinephrine hormone, via cyclic AMP. So epinephrine is the first messenger and cyclic AMP is the second messenger. For this discovery, he was awarded Nobel Prize in 1971. Cyclic AMP binds to inactive protein kinase A and transforms it into cyclic AMP binds to protein kinase A, inactive protein kinase A, and transforms it into active protein kinase A. This active protein kinase A in turn activates the inactive phosphorylase kinase into active phosphorylase kinase. This phosphorylase kinase enzyme converts the inactive phosphorylase B enzyme into active phosphorylase A enzyme. So this phosphorylase A enzyme, it acts upon it will break down the alpha 1,4 linkages from the non-reducing end of glycogen and adds phosphate forming the glucose 1-phosphate. Phosphorylase enzyme, phosphorylase A enzyme, It breaks down the glycogen alpha 1,4 glycosidic bonds present in glycogen from non-reducing end and adds phosphate, thereby liberating glucose 1 phosphate. Glucose 1 phosphate is transformed into glucose 6 phosphate by an enzyme called phosphoglucomutase. Glucose 6 phosphate enters into the lumen of the endoplasmic reticulum with the help of glucose 6 phosphate transporter 1. And with the help of the glucose 6 phosphatase enzyme, this glucose 6 phosphate is hydrolyzed. Glucose 6 phosphatase enzyme, it breaks down the glucose 6 phosphate. It removes phosphate from glucose 6 phosphate and liberates glucose. So this glucose, it moves out of the endoplasmic reticulum with the help of glucose transporter 2. And from the plasma membrane also, glucose it transports or it leaves the plasma membrane with the help of the glucose transporter 2 and enters the blood vessels and maintains the blood glucose level. It enters the blood capillaries to maintain the blood glucose level. Now let us see about mechanism of steroid hormone action. Steroid hormones such as estrogen, progesterone and testosterone do not use any second messengers. They do not activate any proteins or enzymes. But these steroid hormones directly diffuse into the cytoplasm through cell membrane or into the nucleoplasm and bind to some intracellular receptors receptors which are present either in the cytoplasm or nucleoplasm. So after binding to this receptor, a hormone receptor complex is formed. So this hormone receptor complex, either it binds directly to the DNA or it directs the action of some synthesis of some genes or some proteins. This hormone receptor complex enters the nucleus if it is formed in the cytoplasm and directs the action of genes. So this hormone receptor complex, it either directly attaches to the DNA or it may direct the synthesis of some transcriptional factors which initiate the synthesis of some new proteins. For example, if we inject progesterone or estrogen hormones into female chicks, egg white albumin is produced. Now let us see about second messengers. Second messengers are the molecules that relay signals received at receptors on the cell surface from first messengers to the interior of the cell. This we have already seen in an example where when blood glucose level falls, epinephrine it stimulates the liver cells. So epinephrine is the first messenger and glycogenolysis is has to be done with the stimulation of epinephrine by the liver cell. So, in the interior of the cell, cyclic AMP is formed. So, this cyclic AMP is a second messenger. So, apart from relaying the signals, second messengers also serve to greatly amplify the strength of the signal. They greatly amplify the strength of the signal. So whenever a hormone binds to the single receptor on the cell surface, it brings about a massive changes in the biochemical activities within the cell. There are three major classes of second messengers, which include cyclic nucleotides. Examples are cyclic AMP and cyclic GMP, cyclic adenosine monophosphate and cyclic guanosine monophosphate. And the second is inositol triphosphate, commonly called as IP3, and diacylglycerol, usually called as DAG. The third is calcium ions. Now let us see about cyclic nucleotides. The first one is CAMP, cyclic adenosine monophosphate. So this cyclic adenosine monophosphate acts as a second messenger, and some hormones they show their effect to cyclic AMP as second messenger. The hormones which achieve their effects through cyclic AMP include adrenaline, also called epinephrine, luteinizing hormone, and glucagon. There are many other hormones like ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, and many are there, but these are the three hormones. And next let us see about cyclic GMP. Cyclic GMP, it is produced from the hydrolysis of GTP with the help of the enzyme guanylyl cyclase. And cGMP is the cyclic guanosine monophosphate. Cyclic GMP serves as second messenger for atrial natriuretic peptide hormone, nitric oxide, and rods of the retina to light, which respond to light. Peptide and protein hormones like thyroid stimulating hormone, vasopressin, and angiotensin, and the neurotransmitters like GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid, they bind to the G protein coupled receptors. And these G protein coupled receptors, they activate the enzyme which is present inside the cytoplasm, which is called as phospholipase C. Phospholipase C, it hydrolyzes, phospholipase C enzyme hydrolyzes phospholipids. Phospholipids, specifically phosphatidylinositol 4,5-bisphosphate, which is present in the inner layer of the plasma membrane. Phosphatidylinositol 4,5-bisphosphate upon hydrolysis yields two products, namely DAG and IP3. DAG is diacylglycerol. IP3 is inositol triphosphate. Now let us see about DAG. DAG is present in the inner layer of the plasma membrane. DAG recruits an enzyme, namely protein kinase C. Protein kinase C is a calcium dependent kinase enzyme and this enzyme phosphorylates many other proteins which bring about changes in the cell. Inositol triphosphate is a soluble molecule that diffuses through the cytosol and binds to the receptors present on the endoplasmic reticulum, and this causes the release of calcium ions into the cytosol. Calcium ions in the cytosol trigger many events like muscle contraction, a release of neurotransmitter at the synapses, secretion of hormones like insulin, activation of T cells and B cells by binding to the antigen with the help of T cell receptor and B cell receptors, and then adhesion of cells to the extracellular matrix and apoptosis. The function of second messenger is not only conveying the information from the cell surface to the interior, but also the amplification of signal. Binding of few molecules of hormone to receptors produce many molecules of products. Now let us see about signal amplification. When one signal molecule binds to the G protein couple receptor, this activation spreads to the other G protein couple receptors, thereby they activate. Each G protein couple receptor activates adenylyl cyclase. Each adenylyl cyclase breaks down the ATP to cyclic AMP, and each cyclic AMP molecule, it acts upon protein kinase A enzyme. Each protein kinase A enzyme phosphorylates and activates many molecules of X protein. So each molecule of the X protein, X is some protein, each copy of enzyme produces many molecules of product. Thus the cell response is generated, that is from a single signal molecule many molecules of product are generated. So this is called as signal amplification.